The United States officially rejoined the landmark international accord to limit global warming, known as the Paris Agreement, on Friday. Hours after he was sworn in on January 20th, President Joe Biden signed an executive order beginning the 30-day process for the U.S. to re-enter the global pact. The U.S. had officially exited the agreement late last year on former President Donald Trump's orders, becoming the first and only country to formally pull out of the deal since it was adopted in 2015. Climate activist Adetokunbo Ojikutu joins me in the studio to discuss this. Thank you very much at this point for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Looking at this now, the U.S. is back on board the Paris Accord. What does this mean in the global fight against climate change?
Okay, so first of all, for viewers that aren't familiar with the term, the Paris Agreement is a legal binding treaty on climate change. So the countries that are members of this treaty have come together and decided that they want to lower their carbon emissions, their greenhouse gas emissions, and limit the global temperature to 2% above the pre-industrial period to further slow down the process of global warming. But the larger goal here is to make sure that we are all carbon neutral by the year 2050. So when the US first joined the Paris Accord, it was a climate leader in the sense that the first goal was to ensure that they reduced their greenhouse gases by 26 to 28% in the first 10 years. So when Donald Trump pulled the country out of the agreement, it was a shock and it sent a negative and confusing message to the entire international community. However, due to the withdrawal process, which is a 3-year period, which happened over a 3-year period, they weren't officially out of the agreement until November last year, late November last year. But the fact that they have rejoined is a very good thing. And although it wouldn't reinstate, America wouldn't be reinstated as a leader in global climate change action, but then the fact that they have joined hopefully would ensure that they try and push for more aggressive carbon greenhouse gas cuts.
Well, how will this affect developing countries like Nigeria?
So the fact that a powerhouse, in a sense, of climate change action pulled out, it was very, very confusing, and it was very negative in the sense that other countries, because it's basically the developed countries helping developing countries, and Nigeria, as well as almost every country in the world, is a member of the Paris Agreement. So seeing like the powerhouse leave the accord was very, very a negative thing. Yes.
Okay, so last year, the UN Secretary General raised concerns about that the global temperature is still rising at this point, despite the Paris Agreement signed 5 years ago to keep it at a livable temperature of 1.5 degrees. Yeah. So how confident are you that U.S. return of the Paris Accord will change anything?
Well, the fact that they have left and now they are no longer considered the powerhouse, I feel like this is a thing that will push them to be more aggressive in their NDCs. So that's the term used. These are nationally determined contributions. So that is the merit system that is used in the Paris Accord to measure the emissions and track them. Yes. So because of this, I feel like they'll be more aggressive and there'll be much more awareness about climate change in America and like other countries as a whole.
Do we have that awareness here? Are Nigerians much more aware of climate change?
Yes, I feel like we are more aware to an extent, especially because of this Harmattan period, for instance. A lot of people
just came in.
Yes.
Well, it was in December, but
exactly.
February.
So that's an example of climate change happening to us right now. And I feel like the average Nigerian, although they may not be familiar with the term climate change, they understand that something weird is going on with our weather.
All right, Adetokunbo Ojikutu, thank you so much for talking to us at this point.
Thank you for having me.